Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to my channel. In our previous video we have discussed the functional relationship between the quantity demanded of a product and its price, and the relationship that it has on different levels as well, because as we say that it's a functional relationship, which means that whenever the price would vary, it would also affect on the quantity demanded of any particular product. So now we are going to represent it in a graphical form. Here I have plotted the price on the vertical axis and the quantity demanded of the product X on the horizontal axis. Now I have plotted here the price of a product on the vertical axis and the quantity demanded on the horizontal axis. The price is the independent variable and it would vary, and the quantity demanded would vary as per the price changes. So now we would see what kind of price changes and what kind of quantity demanded changes would occur. Here we could see that at price 0, the quantity demanded of any particular product was maximum. As you can see that it is intersecting this horizontal axis at this point, which means that that was my Q max, that was the maximum quantity that would be demanded of a product. Now when the price of the product starts rising, and let's suppose it reaches to the $4. Now at this point in time, the quantity demanded of the product is 4 units. Now when the price raised further to $6, now the quantity demanded is being decreased and it has become now 2 units. Now these are the units and these are the dollars or rupees, whatever you say. Now at the maximum price, which I have mentioned like P1, the quantity demand of the product has become 0. So here we could see that this line that we have got out of this graphical representation, that is the demand curve. Now this is my demand curve. One thing that you would notice in this demand curve, that it is downward sloping. Downward sloping means that the relationship between the quantity demanded and the price is inverse. You guys might be wondering that I have been talking so much about the price and the quantity demanded, and then what about the other factors which are not mentioned right here in this graph? So let me clear you one thing, that we have studied the demand and price functional relationship, and we have studied the definition of the demand. It says that we have to hold all the other factors constant, like consumers' taste and preferences, its income, the prices of the related goods, either they are complementary or substitute goods, the expectations, future expectations of the price changes, and the number of consumers, and so on. So we have held constant all the other factors. Now this demand curve that we have got is obtained just by keeping all these factors constant, means that the values or there would be no change in these factors when we are talking about, or when we are developing a relationship between the quantity demand and the price. Now this is the demand curve and this is the movement of the demand of the quantity demanded along the curve. Now, this is the movement along the curve. Now, the movement between point A and B along the demand curve is called change in quantity demanded. It results when consumers react to a change in the price of the good, all other factors held constant. This change in quantity demanded is pictured as a movement along a given demand curve. Now, just keep this thing in mind that now at this point in time we are talking about the movement along the curve. We haven't shifted the curve either rightwards or inwards. Now we would see that what are the other things that would make this demand curve to shift outwards or inwards. Now let's see that. This is the same diagram, but to make it more visible to you guys, I have raised all the other things. Now this is the demand curve that we have been talking for so long. Now this movement along the demand curve was caused by the changes in the prices and the changes in the quantity demanded. Alright. Now let's suppose when any of these factors which we have held constant change. Let's suppose if we say that if the consumer's income increases and the product that we are talking about is the normal good. So we have studied before as well that whenever we talk about the normal goods and there is an income increase of the consumer, we always observe that the consumption of the normal good increases, which means that consumers would use more of the normal goods. So there is a positive relationship between the quantity demand and the income, which means that we would observe the outward shift. Now, one point that needs to be learned over here is that consumer is demanding more of the product at the same price. This was the previous demand. Let's suppose if we call it Q1. This was the previous demand of the same consumer. Now there is an income increase and the product that we are talking about is the normal good. Let's suppose. Now he wants, let's suppose it was on price 6. Now he wants, and he was demanding 2 units. Now at the same price he is demanding 7 units. I hope I am making some sense to you over here that when the price was $6, the quantity that he wanted to buy was 2 units. That was because his income was low, or according to his income, he was able to buy 2 units of the same product, and the product was a normal good. Now, when he has an income boost, now he could buy at the same price he is buying 7 units of the same product which we are calling the normal good. So now this outward shift of the demand is called shift in demand. The movement, upward or downward movement, was called change in quantity demanded. And this outward or inverse shift. In our case, when it was a normal good, the shift was outward due to the income increase. And if it would be in an inferior good, the consumer would use less of the product in case of the inferior good. So there would be inward shift. It would be somewhere like this. So the change in quantity demand makes a relationship which is moving along the same demand curve. And the shift in the demand always occurs when there is a change in any of the factors that we have held constant earlier. And this is called the shift in demand. Or we could say that this shift is the change in demand. Now, the outward or the inward shift is the change in demand, and that occurs when the factors are affected, which we have held constant, and the movement along the same demand curve is the change in quantity demanded, which occurs when the price changes, and due to the price changes, the quantity demanded of that product changes. Now, I hope that it is now making sense to you that what is the difference between these two phrases, that change in the quantity demand and change in the demand. These are two different things, and in one case we are talking about only the price and the quantity demanded of the product, and in the other thing we get one another stimulator or one other catalyst which makes the demand curve to shift outward or inward. And at the same price level, the consumer is now interested in buying more of a product or less of a product. So this was eventually shift the demand curve outside or inside of the previous demand curve. Now, we can also say that if the price of the product was 4 units and the consumer was buying, let's suppose 6 units, now he is at the same price level, which was 4 units. Now he would be interested in buying 9 units, which means that the price is not affecting on the change in demand or the shift in demand. It is the factors that we have held constant which is affecting or which is shifting the demand outwards or inwards. If you like my video, please do let me know in the comments below, and please support my channel, and do subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so you get all of the notifications from my channel. Thank you so very much.